This is Gus with Anora, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.
Good evening and welcome to the Chat with Chats live show. I'm your host, as always, Joe Zampa, and today I'm joined by two fantastic panelists. First of all, the man who's got more moves than Bangura Williams is Disco Steve. How you doing, Disco?
Oh, these intros are getting better and better every week, Joe. Love it. Yeah, I'm really good. Thanks, mate. Good to see you both, and looking forward to a good show.
Good stuff, excellent. And of course, our Danish correspondent, the guy who's not busy watching Millwall, he's out there scouting and hunting the next Scandinavian or European player we're going to attract. How you doing, Jesper? You good?
I'm very good, thanks. At least something to talk about this week, all of a sudden, isn't there? And luckily, only 2 months until kickoff, so yeah, really something to look forward to now. And 2 weeks until the schedule comes out, so starting to get a bit excited. Would like to see some incoming soon, but I'm sure we'll get into that later.
Most definitely. It's incredible what a week does, isn't it? When it comes to this sort of part of the season. Guys, listeners, we've got a fantastic show tonight. We've got a special guest that's going to be coming on shortly. I'm going to introduce him very, very soon. But before I do that, just a couple of things. First of all, if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel yet, please do so straight away. As you know, all the proceeds we make to this channel goes to Cancer Research UK. And you could do your part just by liking, subscribing, and helping with the algorithms to help us get more traction and more listeners to a channel. First of all, a couple of little shout outs and well wishes. The first thing I wanted to mention is our very own Casper Denora has got married to his now wife, Iris Denora. So just want to congratulate them. They got married on the weekend. Childhood sweethearts. A fantastic couple. I'm privileged to know them both. And all the best to you guys. Also, just a quick mention to Max McCullum. As you know, he's head of our media and comms at Millwall. So him and his partner are awaiting the arrival of their baby, which is due any day now. So hopefully that will be announced very, very, very shortly. As always, we'll go to the chat very, very quickly and see who's with us. So straight away through the door is Chris Brown. Evening, hope you're well. Friend of the show, Jeff Chandler. How you doing? Alex, bang on time again. I can't believe that. Well done, mate. Jeff Cook, a fellow Northerner. With Disco there. Hughesy, good to see you. Mark, evening, hope you're well. Oscan, all good for you, hope you're all right, mate. Craig Jones, how are you? Hope you're feeling better, Craig. Ben the Beaver, hope you're good. Born Free, Die Free, how are you? Paul Donovan, can we see Joe's miss? No, you can't. Actually, I might bring it out later, we'll see. Hope you're well, Paul, fellow panelists. Benji, how are you, mate? Craig, even who fancies buying some old took from the exec lounge. Max, how are you? Hope you're good. David, hope you're well, mate. There you go. Disco, Danny Chappell, loads of comments coming in. Craig, why has Joe got Lucas Jensen's curtains? I know my hair's growing long. Probably need a haircut. Or one of those. Yeah, exactly. I'll get that for next show. Hairband. And Billy Smith, good evening, lads. Hope you're okay. As you know, we live in Liverpool. My daughter's got an essay for school. She's going to do it on Millwall. And the games we go to meet in the place that you're so proud. Good on you, Billy, and good luck to your daughter. So, right, here we go. Special guest introduction. So this guy is a content creator. He's got a strong online presence with, I think it's like 11,500 followers on TikTok and YouTube. And today he's going to be coming on sharing his thoughts about the Den and his perspective of Millwall and our season and how the season sort of played out for us. But before I do that, I just wanted to just show a part of his one of his sort of footages. So he does a lot of stuff on YouTube, you see. So just bear with me 1 second. I'm just trying to get the details up now. Bear 1 second. Wait 1 second. Guys, you can talk amongst yourselves for now until I bring it up.
I'll just say, Joe, this is the shirt I was talking about last week when I said it's like would you call that aqua blue or turquoise, is it? Do you remember this one? From a
couple yes, the light blue one. Yes,
yeah,
I know what you mean.
Light blue.
Yeah.
You call it light blue. I thought it was something a bit more exotic.
Light blue, yeah.
Oh, a very
right, excellent.
One of the faves, that.
Excellent. Okay, so look, the video is coming through, so we will announce Dre. Apologies, Dre, waiting in the green room. We'll get to you very, very shortly. But just come to yourself very, very quickly, Disco. What do you make of, I guess, the news? We'll touch on it in a little bit more detail shortly with George Savile moving on and his contract not being renewed this season.
Yeah, mixed one, Joe, to be honest. Look, it was obviously a bit of a surprise, but then the balance of that, not a huge surprise, because for the type of player he is, and no doubt for the contract and the role we were probably offering him for next season, I thought there might be some decent suitors who would really value his experience and his ability a little bit more than maybe we would right now. And that sounds a little bit awful on his part. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in a football sense. So on one hand, a little bit surprised it actually happened, but not surprised. And look, he goes with, for me, an immense amount of thanks and, a debt of gratitude in terms of in the spells he played for us. All 4 spells were slightly different in a way, but a really great player for us and a good quality player, Sav, and adapted to the his age and the managers. He adapted his game, didn't he, to fit in, and a good pro. And I wish him nothing but success in the future.
Lovely. Cheers, Disco. Now the comms are working now, so apologies, Dre, wait in the background here, but I'm going to give you a quick video to what Dre's about. Here we go.
Well done to Millwall. Looks like you've lot been taking my advice. The lads took the bollocking that I gave them and decided they're going to go out there and win. Prior to this game, you lot were playing mediocre. Shocking. But after the last few videos I put out, how funny that all of a sudden the players are performing. Well done to Ivanovic, because the finish itself, the finish was immaculate. But let's not forget the ball that was put through by Reece, Bangura, Williams was absolutely amazing. And that assist that Reece got today just shows you why he cannot stay at Fulham. He needs to come to Arsenal. You lot should be thanking me, that confidence boost that I gave the lads when I gave them a bollocking. This is what they've done. They've come back and won a game. But listen, board of directors, chairman at Millwall, listen, I'll take a little small fee. We can start the negotiations. I'll take, a light little 200 bags. Nothing crazy, just 200 bags a week. Not going to break the bank. The amount of players that you lot are selling, I'm sure you've got 200 grand a week to spend on your assistant coach, Big Dre. But on a more serious note, well done to Reece, because again, I keep telling you, this guy's one to watch. People keep saying, oh, he's only had a few games, blah, blah, blah. If you know football, like I do, and if you've done talent acquisition, scouting, like I have, you know potential when you see it. The pass that he put through to Ivanovic was a Premier League-esque pass. That's the type of pass that you'd be seeing at Arsenal, at Man City, at Man United. There's a proper pass. It wasn't just a little cheeky little, you know what I mean? It was a decent pass, cut through the defenders. They could not defend against that ball. Anyway, well done, Millwall. Hopefully you lot continue your winning ways, get promoted to the Prem, and then we can have him off you for a few quid.
There you go. So let's not keep him waiting any longer. The closet Millwall fan, Big Dre. How you doing, Big Dre? You good?
I'm doing well. How are we all doing?
Good. Yes, we're all good. We're all good. So again, I know who you are. A lot of the guys maybe on the channel were seeing you before, but for those that haven't seen you before, just tell us a little bit about your background, what you do in regards to your content, and to give us a bit of a lowdown, really.
Yeah, so I make football content. Initially, I started off making the same sort of content I make now, like a commentary / journalism / scout. Then I started making videos for young potential ballers that's trying to come up, teaching them about the game, how to improve themselves, confidence, all that sort of stuff. And then one day I just decided I'm just going to be myself. I just started putting out some banner and people liked it, so I continued with it. That was pretty much what happened.
obviously we spoke off there a couple of times, and I can't believe that you've been around for about 10 years, putting content out on YouTube. And maybe 10 years ago, YouTube wasn't as cool as it is today, and I guess there were some struggles there, weren't there, of like trying to find that kind of right balance to get the views and stuff. So what was the transition like for you? What kind of works you find that worked, what didn't work so much in the early days?
So I'd say in the early days, this is before we had something called Shorts. So YouTube created a new, let's say, feature. Yeah, it's called Shorts. So now the Shorts get pushed, so you can get a lot more views and a lot more reach. Whereas before, when you put your videos out, it just wasn't going out to many people. So I was getting like 8 views, 12 views, hardly anyone was viewing it. But then once they released Shorts, I started to see what people were liking. So I noticed you have to learn about hooks to keep someone engaged for the first 3 seconds so they don't switch off. Then you got to talk about something that people actually want to hear about, topic. And you got to keep them watching. You got to keep them for 10 seconds. Then try and keep them for another 15. Then, I wouldn't say I'm perfect, but I'm getting there.
It's fantastic. Definitely getting there. And unlike Jesper and Disco, me and you, Dre, we appeal to a younger audience, don't we? So what is it that is it that kind of edginess you feel kind of gravitates more sort of like connection, more contrast with your listeners?
I think the reason why the younger audience comes to me is because it's just fun. I come, I banter, I talk about the things that they're interested in, and I think that's the main reason why. I can appeal to their audience.
Fantastic. And again, your knowledge is fantastic. I mean, you don't just cover the English leagues. You do the Premiership. You do the Scottish League as well. I've seen you do sort of sports and boxing, and even crypto back in the day. So it's fantastic, really. You're an Arsenal fan, right?
Yes, Arsenal's my English team. Yes.
Yeah. When did you first start supporting Arsenal? When was your earliest memory? What year and what sort of players do you have at the time?
So I do remember. So initially, my dad is a Spurs fan. So my dad's a Spurs fan.
He hasn't spoken to you since, has he, Dre?
Say again?
He hasn't spoken to you since, has he?
I haven't seen him. Yeah. So, he's a Spurs fan. But my older brother, he loved Thierry Henry, and so he was an Arsenal fan.
Of course.
And so I remember. Around
2000, was it roughly? Would you say
this was
98, 99,
2000, 2001?
That's it.
I was a kid. Yeah, so I remember watching David Beckham score a free kick.
Be like me.
I said, I want to support that team, and my brother said no.
Really? That's it.
That was it. Yeah, he's like, no, you support Arsenal.
And you haven't looked back. You haven't looked back since.
Literally, I still remember that moment. Yeah.
Interesting fact for you, Dre. The last time Millwall played Arsenal, do you know when it was? Before your time, probably. 1995 at Old Highbury. We knocked you guys out at the third round of the replay of the FA Cup. I know. And if you remember Disco and Jesper, Mark Beard scored, and that Mark Kennedy scored an amazing goal past David Seaman when Tony Adams was trying to chase him down. If you look on YouTube, you'll find it. It was very much like a giant sort of killing, because at the time we were the division below you guys, and you had George Graham as manager as well. So it's going back quite a few years.
But that's going back a while.
That's the last time, exactly. But what I've got you on, I just want to ask you, how do you feel that Mill performed this last season, in your opinion?
I would still say, even though you've done better than last season, I still think throughout the season you're just not very consistent. So you'd be doing well. So if you look at, for instance, last season, if it wasn't for the fact that you won your last 5 remaining games, which you were the only team that won the last 5 remaining games, by the way.
That's right.
If it wasn't for that fact, you wouldn't have finished. Was it 13th? I think you finished.
We finished. Was it 8th, guys? 8th or 9th? Was it? I think
last season.
8th last season. Yeah. So we're only about a point.
That was the season before that we finished 13th, I believe.
Yeah. Last season. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, the season before.
Before that one. Yeah. So this, that was, we finished about 30th. The last one, we just missed out on the last game.
That one you just missed out on playoff positions. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really
unlucky. This season, you just inconsistencies. I think you know who you need, even though that's probably something I should bring up later on. But Borja Sainz.
All right, okay. I saw he's on.
I think he'd be a good fit for your team. Honestly,
going for. I've heard rumours he might be looking at different clubs at the moment. So
he shouldn't be in the Championship. He's amazing.
Yeah, whether we
he's very expensive, like isn't he?
Yeah. Is he?
Say again?
Way past our budget, is he, Jesper?
I reckon he is. He's been very good he's been tearing it up in the championship. I don't see him signing for us. I mean, he's a really, really good player for Norwich. I reckon he'll go. And if he doesn't go to the Premier League, I think he'll go abroad. I don't think he'll stay in the championship, to be fair. He's rated at 14 million transfer mark, so I don't see.
If you can put a word in for us, Dre, then we'll be more than
yeah.
I'll send him a DM.
Exactly. Dre, so the season just finished just now. Which players you felt stood out for you the most? Anyone sort of caught your eye? Anything you want to mention?
Not Fleming. Fuck's gonna say Fleming. Right, Reece Bangura, for me, he has to be. Can I call it? I can't call him player of the season, but for me, he just, for what he did in the space of time that he has, especially how young he is, he's just my favorite player of the season. Yeah, honestly, I want him to come to Arsenal. I'm being dead serious. I want to see him. Yeah, I think he'll be good if we pair him with Skelly.
Yeah, great player. I've got some footage here. You might actually like to see this. Dre, give us one. There you go. And that fullback, he left, turned inside. He was actually a Greek international, I think, isn't he, as well? Like really top player. So, but yeah, very, very talented kid. We might actually have Chris joining us as well. Let's see if you're there, Chris. There he is. How are you, Chris? You all right?
All right, gents. How we doing?
How we doing?
Yeah, good to join us. Chris, this is Dre. Dre, this is Chris.
How you doing, Chris?
How you doing, mate? I'm a little bit starstruck, if I'm honest. It's a pleasure to have you on, mate. Thank you for joining us.
He says that every time he sees me, Dre. Every time.
He was photograph.
Disco.
Get it ink on.
Yeah. Exactly. Now we've just sort of touched on a few bits there, Chris. Just talking about our season and players stood out, and Dre just mentioned that Bangura Williams was one that stood out for him.
100%.
He wants him at Arsenal. I was listening. I heard hands up to sign a new contract, so it's not happening.
Exactly. He's on a new long contract now, so we've got him for at least one more season before the Premiership clubs come after him. Any other players, Dre, that stood out for you last season? I know you mentioned Ivanovic, didn't you, as one as that stood out.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think clubs are going to be looking at him. He could have done better. I think obviously he's young, so he's still got a lot of time to improve. Still a lot of things that he could do, but he done well. I think he done well personally.
Yeah. No, decent player. And guys, we just want to go back to the George Savile departure. Obviously, we know that Richard Cowley announced it on Twitter. Just sort of spoke about how the conversation sort of fell a bit short, where he's basically couldn't agree terms with the club. We don't know what the club have offered him, but whatever they offered him is not to his liking. He's accepted an offer to join Luton Town next season as well, who are playing in League One, but you like to think they're going to be challenging for promotion next season. Chris, what's your thoughts on that? And I'd love to get your thoughts on him leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I covered it in a video. It was like real off the cuff gut reaction. But I think that for me, Sav will be a huge miss. Arguably a bigger miss than anyone that's left us so far. And I include Hutch in that because Hutch obviously wasn't playing much. Sav still has something to offer on the pitch. Do I want him starting every week if we're going to be a top 8 side in the Championship? No. But he still has a lot to offer. Every player speaks really highly of him. You know, Casper talked about how he was the person that marshaled the team, said when to press, when to drop back. He is a born leader. And he's one, like, I like him. Like, I like old school footballers. I don't like the modern game. I think it's full of pansies and wet lettuces and too much fancy stuff. Sav is old school, and I like that. And it's a dying art. And I think it says a lot that Luton have quite quickly offered him 2-3 year deal that essentially shows the value in a player like Sav. And you know, for Sav, he's probably going to get another promotion on his CV. Let's be honest. Luton will probably bounce straight back up. So I think he's a huge miss. I think that it goes above and beyond what we see on face value. So there's a couple of things as well I want to allude to. So both Kasper and Sav were in the top 6 last season in the championship for interceptions. So that just shows you the defensive work that Sav gets through. He played over 40 games for us. He's not someone that was a bit part player. He is big time, a big part. So that's one. I think the second thing is you look at the and Fevs. I don't know if you're listening, Fevs, but I'll retweet it again. But you produced a kind of a statistic board of the work that Sav gets through, and the big take out of that was that the amount of work he does to protect the back four, which is again sort of things that go unnoticed. So all of these things, the fact that he's Cooper's best mate, how does that influence big JC? I don't know. So I don't necessarily blame the club, because do I want to pay Sav at 32 years of age top dollar? I don't. So I think it's probably one of those things that just had to happen. But for me, and that's why I said it earlier, it all now stems to what happens next. We need to replace him with a central midfielder that is kind of a 2.0 of Sav, and how we can then progress as a football club. And that's not going to be cheap. So, and lastly, I think all we can do is thank him. I think most of us have had the opportunity of meeting him. He's a standout guy. He's a really good bloke, a good human being. And I'm not a massive fan of Luton as a football club, but I wish him well, regardless.
Cheers to that, Chris. Appreciate it. Coming to you next, Jesper. Just want to get your thoughts, your reaction to the move. Is it the right time? He's 32 years of age. Is he going to be playing a lot of first team football next season for Millwall? Probably not. What do you make of that decision?
I think I will allude to what Steve and Chris has already said. I would have liked to have kept him on for another year, especially since we're going through sort of a transition period with new younger players coming in, and we already seen Musa and Hutch leave. This is another senior player leaving the building. So it's a big blow for us in terms of having these players, nurturing the younger players, especially outside the pitch as well. So it's a big miss. But as I wrote in the group as well, I think it's an exciting time, because what comes next? Who do we bring in? I don't think Alex Neil is a fool. I think he knows that we need a senior player in that role. So I really hope the club is looking and searching for one who could come in and be that sort of organizer and aggressor that Sav was. And I think it's also a big season for Billy Mitchell coming up next season. I think Alex Neil has shown some trust in Billy since he came back from his injury. And I think he could play a huge part going forward next season, along with Kasper, who I think will be a talisman as well for us. But we do need another person in there, and we can't go out and get someone who's 18, 19-year-old. We need experience in there. When we talk about good teams, we always talk about the spine in the team, and that goes through the goalkeeper, the central defenders, midfield, and striker as well. We have a good striker, we have a good goalkeeper, we have a good pair of central defenders. We need someone in there along with Kasper and Billy who can add to the quality and to the seniorness, if you may. So on one side, sad to see him go. I don't know what offer was put on the table, if it was like a take it or leave it. I suspected a little bit, because it's so early in the window that he said, all right, if this is all you can give me, I'm going to look for other opportunities. And obviously he's found Luton, which is good for him. And as Chris said, he might up having another promotion on his CV come end of next season. So all the best to him. That's all I can say. He's been a really good servant.
Nice one. Cheers, Jesper. Disco, we heard of you earlier. Thanks for your thoughts on Savile as well. Coming to yourself, Dre. I don't know whether you know much about George Savile as a player. Obviously, been with us since we've had 2 stints with us, or 3 stints actually. I think he came on loan and we signed him, then we sold him to Middlesbrough. Come back in 2021, made 241 appearances for Millwall. A fan's favourite, bit of a no-nonsense, old-school midfielder. What's your thoughts on George Savile as a player? And do you see it as the right move for him and for Millwall Football Club?
To be fair with you, I don't really understand it. I'm presuming the manager said to him, "You're not going to get a lot of game time." That maybe the deal just wasn't really something what he's looking for. I'm thinking it's something to do with game time. I don't think it's anything to do with the money. So he probably just thought, he'd rather get some game minutes under his belt elsewhere.
Yeah, I get that. He's a proud guy, Jules Savile.
Yeah.
You know, I think he wants to be playing all the time. You see what it meant to him when he wasn't playing, when he wasn't starting games. You know, he looked quite pissed off, and rightly so. You know, and he's 32 years of age. Yeah, has he got another year or two at this level? We don't know. So, good point there, Dre. I don't think money is the main talk subject. I think it's more about playing. Absolutely, staying with yourself. Before we go to yourself, sorry, Dre. Billy Smith. Joe, pretty sure I saw you on the open house experience on Channel 4 last week. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, mate. But cheers. I bet he was a good-looking guy, weren't he? Yeah.
Joe,
cheers.
you've had a bit of flack for your Lucas Jensen haircut in the. Maybe it was Lucas Jensen.
Maybe it was Lucas Jensen on there. Exactly. Now his season's over. He's probably doing some extra stuff.
Joe,
Dre,
just a quick one. Sorry, just before we go off of Sav, I don't know the answer to this. It'd be good to anyone in the chat that can Google it. But how many times did he start under Alex Neil? To Dre's point, like he played a lot and he came on a lot and he impacted games a lot. How many times did he start?
I reckon Alex S is all over that. Give him a few minutes and Alex S will give you the answer to that one. Alex, if you're listening, mate, Alex, to Chris's question.
90 seconds, go.
If you go.
And Chris, right. I think on that, he always was chatting to him coming off the pitch, wasn't he? You could tell he was a main,
he was the leader on the pitch.
Link for him to the players. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Dre, just change subject. We're going to move on to Japhet Tanganga, and this question's come up here. So I thought, you know what, let's talk about him now. Someone's asked you there, what's Dre's thoughts on Tanganga's release clause, 1.2 million? Obviously, a bit of a shock to all of us, including yourself, when you found out, Dre. I mean, what's your thoughts? That was announced by Richard Cowley. I can try and find Richard Cowley's message here. Where is it? So he says, Richard Cowley, Mill defender Japhet Tanganga has a release clause of around 1.2 million in his contract. Believe that may only be Premier League clubs that can bid to activate it. Made 40 championship appearances last season. Tanganga won Mill Supporter Club Player of the Year. What's your thoughts on that, Dre?
So we know there's some stipulations in there. Obviously, the Premier League, only Premier League clubs can bid for that. But I just wonder, how did the agent manage to squeeze that in there? There's got to be something else. There's no way he could put in a 1.2 million release clause just for Premier League clubs. There's got to be something else behind it. Maybe the agent's getting a cut, or it just doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense to me at all. Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't make sense to us. I mean, both Chris and I sponsored Tanganga's shirt. Chris has got one behind his shirt. He's got the. I got the home. I got the third kit. Sorry, you got the away kit, didn't you? And we sat and we had lunch with Japhet, and he's a top guy, lovely guy. And Chris, tell me if I'm lying or not. He said to us point blankly, he didn't talk about the contract, whatever. All he said was Mill will do a right out of it. We asked him, is there a release clause? Blah blah blah. He sort of said there is, but Mill will do a right of it. In my head, I'm sure Chris as well was thinking 10 million, 12 million. Do you know what I mean? But when he said that, Chris, I don't know what your thoughts were, Chris, but 1.2 million, it comes as a bit of a surprise and a shock, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does. I think that I said this in the recording I did in the week. To me, it's like a bit of a loan deal in a way. I know he was a free agent from Tottenham, but basically we are just going to get back what we've paid for him for the last year, because he's on 25 grand a week in wages, right? So you get back to 1.2. So him, his agent, they've had us over dirty, and it's certainly not the riches that he suggested, Joe, when we sat down with him. But I think that, look, you don't turn down the opportunity to sign a player of Jaff's quality because of demands like that. You know, if that's put to you and you say, look, this is the only reason I'm going to agree a deal. We spoke to him in May. We agreed a deal with Tottenham so that we could talk to him before anyone else could. We agreed a deal with Tottenham. For whatever reason, Jaff wasn't interested. My assumption is that he was looking for a Premier League club and he didn't quite happen for him. And then he joined us because he knew he was guaranteed game time and a club that he felt loved and wanted. And look, regardless of what happens, I think to me now it's just a case of let's just move him on quickly because we need to replace him. He's going to go 1.2 million for a centre-back of his calibre is an absolute steal. You know, like Burnley have just lost that Egan Riley, right? He was fundamental to their promotion push. So it's a matter of time, and I think all we can do is just thank him for the pleasure he gave us when he was here, and we move on.
So
Chris,
in your mind, sorry, Jesper, in your mind, Chris, you think he's off?
I would, if I was a bet, I mean, I am a betting man, so that's a stupid thing to say, but I would put my mortgage on that he's going 100%. There is no way he stays.
Yeah, Jesper.
No, I'm just wondering if he's actually top of the list of these clubs looking at him right now, and it's all the promoted teams we're talking about. It's the Leeds, it's Burnley, and it's was the last one, Sunderland and Wolverhampton, I believe. So it's all bottom, I would say bottom side clubs in the Premier League looking at him right now. And I'm just wondering if that isn't, if he's the first choice that they will be looking at to strengthen in terms of centre backs. If they are looking at centre backs, it seems like they are. Or if he's one of, second, third, fourth choice on that list in case they can't get maybe the targets that they're targeting, maybe players who's played in Europe, in the Bundesliga and in France and Spain, and they're looking at first tier players. Whereas Jeff, he hasn't. If you look at his record, he hasn't played a lot of Premier League football. He's been injured a lot. He's had a few games in the Champions League as well, and then he's played a lot of football with us. He hasn't actually really cut it in the Premier League, has he? I mean, he came on as a young player, really exciting. Since then, he dropped off because there was a lot of changes with managers at Spurs as well. He's 26 now, so he's not like a young kid who's had loads of Premier League experience. And he didn't even play when he went to Germany as well. He was frozen out of that team as well. So I'm just wondering, I wouldn't say it's a given he's off. I hope he stays. I don't think he will, to be honest. But I'm just wondering, how high up the list is he actually in terms of these clubs looking at centre backs? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, good point. And Disco, I mean, in the past, he had knee injuries, knee problems. I think that was a big valid reason why a lot of clubs weren't too keen to sort of risk signing him, because they thought he had this ongoing problem with his knee. Obviously, he's played 40 games for us this season. The knee hasn't really been an issue. He's managed it quite well, which is good. What's your thoughts on the situation? Can you see him being with us next season? And if he does go, is that good business or bad business from Millwall on your part?
I think, look, stupid as it sounds, I've had a blinded optimism since the end of the season, really. And as somebody said there, when we got through the January window, I sort of thought, well, maybe we will keep him a bit longer. I don't know what it is. I've just got a ridiculous feeling we might just, for some bizarre reason, keep hold of him. Maybe a bit of what Jesper has said there. However, as Chris says, you've got to think Premiership clubs, and especially with the greatest respect, some that have gone up or at the lower end, they would be mad not to invest 1.2 bloody million out of their back pocket for such a quality player. It's just not even a risk, is it? Now, you've got to put in the mix there. Is he prepared to go in there and be a potential squad player? Does he demand, I have to be first team choice, etc.? Or, there'll be all those elements. So my heart is saying, I think we might have a chance of sneakily keeping him. Your head says, absolutely not a hope in hell. In terms of the deal, listen, as Chris said there, how would we, whenever you do a deal, you think, don't you, how much am I prepared to pay? What criteria am I prepared to put in place, etc., etc.? We wanted him really, really badly. So worst case scenario, we put in there a bit of a meagre clause for a Premiership side to come and take him. For me, that was worth putting in all day long. Of course, I'd have loved it to be a lot more than that. But to have not had him this season, last season, would have been criminal, wouldn't it? He's been brilliant for us. So it's a gut wrencher, but I understand it. But look, I don't think he'll be here, but I hope and pray he stays. But as Chris says, I think if he's going to go, we've got to get it moving quickly and not be left. Even though we've got Kramer there to step in, we will need a replacement as well.
Yeah, nice one, Disco. And just to end it off, really, for two pence worth, I think the underlying fact for us is I don't think we would have signed him on a free transfer have we not agreed to that release clause. I think his agent probably looked at it. He looked at it, I want him back in the Premiership, and we got him on a free. We had a good deal. We signed him with a view that maybe, yes, he might go to a bigger club soon enough. There could be other clauses in that contract. There could be another sell-on clause, so we sell him for 1.2, but then we get, I don't know, 30-40% of the next sell if he goes again. So when Tanganga told me and Chris, I don't know, I'm just speculating here, Chris. If he told us, don't worry, Mill will do well. And he said it in a real convincing way, didn't he, Chris? Like, don't worry, Mill will do well out of it, trust me. I was thinking, fucking hell, this is good. So I'm thinking, is it like a 30-40%, I don't know what you called it. It's like a sell-on after you sold him.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully maybe with Rom. I think that anyone, and I've seen all sorts on social media, but let's just be real for a second. Anyone who thinks you sign a player on a free in the Championship and that you can demand a release fee of 10 to 12 million, you're smoking. That is just that's
only a Football Manager, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Did I think it'd be as low as 1.2? No, but we are where we are. And look, I think that Joe, you and I have obviously spoke in detail with Jaff, and he's not arrogant, but he's a very quietly confident chap, right? I think we posed the question to him, which centre forward has ever given you grief? And he struggled to name one. Do you remember? Like, he was I back myself against anyone.
I think he said Harry Kane, didn't he? He said, I think Harry Kane was the toughest. Yeah,
which is
training.
It's a fair comment. But the reason
it's not a bad choice, is it?
The reason I bring it up is because if he signs for a Burnley, a Leeds, a Sunderland, someone like that, and he goes in as third choice, I think he backs himself to become
number
vital
one
in that team.
Yeah.
And he just wants to play at the highest level. He's a very, I asked him what he does at the weekend, and he says, don't really go out much, very quiet. I'll just play Call of Duty. He's a very quiet, calm lad that just wants to get on with his career. So it is what it is. My major concern, though, is we are ripping the heart out of our spine, right? So we've got no goalkeeper that was consistent last season. Jaff comes out. Sav comes out. Possibly Coburn comes out. That is a huge chunk of our spine that was successful last season, and that is what concerns me. And we've got to do our business quickly.
Completely agree with you. Talk about goalkeepers, Jesper. Just moving on now from Tanganga.
Joe, sorry, mate. Before you go on, have you got Alex S's comment there about a bidding war? Because I think that this is something that continually comes up.
Let me get it up.
I think Craig already answered that it won't happen. They simply
my naive knowledge is there's no. I think I'm right in saying, there's no bidding war. Once you hit the clause, then it's about the player and the agents agreeing where it goes.
Exactly, for Premiership. But a lot of Mill fans are hoping the Championship club will come in for him because that will give us a bigger fee, wouldn't it? If, say, like, I don't know who can afford him, but one of the teams that have come down, perhaps, maybe, who knows, Leicester or someone, perhaps. But that's a very, very good shout. Jesper, moving on from Tanganga, I want to talk about a sensitive subject with Liam Roberts leaving Millwall. Obviously, he's a goalkeeper who his contract ends at the end of this month. It's clear he's going to be leaving. There's rumours that he's linked with Mansfield. He's made 6 appearances for Millwall last season. Notably, he played a big part in the crucial game against Leeds when we won 2-0, and he saved the penalty against Sturge in Ellen Road. And he also played fantastic in the away game against Portsmouth in the league, which I was there. And he was absolutely unbelievable. That was the goal, Dre. If you remember when Ivanovic scored that goal when Bangura Williams done that set up with the through ball. I think you mentioned one of your videos. Yeah. You mentioned, I was there that day, and he played brilliantly in that game, kept the clean sheet, made some crucial saves as well. Just, but what's your? I want to get your reaction on that. What's your thoughts on him leaving? Obviously, given what happened with that incident with Mateta at the Palace, his kind of Millwall career sort of went downhill from that moment. Just want to get your thoughts on how that's maybe affected his decision, him leaving.
I think personally, I feel very sorry for Liam after that game against Crystal Palace. It just went all bananas in the media, and he never deserved that kind of treatment, to be fair. And I think he's just really struggled after that game, mentally. We haven't seen him play since. He was he was apparently injured, we were told also, and I'm just wondering, was he really injured? This is just speculation, I'm just guessing. Or was he just left out because, he needed time off from football after that incident and really figuring out, how to continue his career, whether to stay at Millwall or to leave, which he has done now, and look for new pathways. So I wish him all the best. I think the games he came on, he was brilliant for us, and it's just a shame it had to sort of end that way, if you can say it like that. I understand his decision. It's a tough one. I could have seen him stay, to be honest, because I know the club and the fans would have backed him. But I also know that him wearing a Millwall shirt would have maybe a potential risk for him personally especially when we go away from home. So I think it's been a difficult choice for him, but in the end, I think he feels this is the right for him now to say, all right, contract's up. I'm going to look for new opportunities. And as you say, Mansfield has been rumored. I think there was another club in League One as well. So yeah, another one I'm sort of sad to see leave, because he was a really good backup keeper as well. When we alluded to like what sort of keeper are we looking for now, I think he was just a really good backup keeper. And it's not always easy to find these keepers who are content with playing, let's say, 5 to 10 games, maybe not even that in a season. So from that perspective, it's a shame to see him leave, because I think he did really well the games he played.
Nice one. Cheers, Jesper. Coming to you next, Disco. Obviously, it was well documented, the incident with Mateta at the Palace. It was a pure accident. Obviously, he suffered a lot of abuse from that. His wife did as well, even death threats and things like that. Obviously, it's not nice to any player to be in that position. That could have been the reason why he's decided to move on. But it does leave us in a very, very sticky situation, doesn't it, in regards to goalkeepers at the moment?
Yeah. Look, I was gutted to see him go. I thought he was very good for us, primarily as a number 2. But look, he never let us down, as you say, when he came in as first choice. Much as I would have expected us to bring in a first choice keeper on loan or something to stand in for Jensen while he's injured, I'd have been quite comfortable with Roberts getting the nod as first choice at the start of the season. So I'm a little surprised that he's decided to go. Somebody said in the comments there he wanted first team football, which I sort of get, but he seemed happy enough being number 2. Look, I think maybe naively, I didn't think the Mateta issue was a major factor in it, but maybe deep down it really is, and he just feels, I need a clean break. I need to wipe that from my memory bank and have a fresh start somewhere, etc., etc. And he is a northern lad, I think, isn't he? He wants to go back up north, So and swap the exotic South London for the very equally exotic Mansfield. I can imagine that's extremely attractive. So, but no, look, I wish him well. Decent guy. It was all a bit weird at the end, wasn't it, with his injury and then not being available and what have you. But no, I think it's a loss. And as Chris says, it's another part of the spine being ripped out right now, which is not good for us.
No, cheers, Disco.
Sorry,
right.
Joe. I was just going to say, can you remember like how shaky it was, even under rest his soul, Matty, and then Lucas at the start? It takes a lot of time to build the relationship with the goalkeeper and the centre backs, and if all of a sudden, 2 out of that 3 are new, that's why we need to do this business early.
I agree.
Chris, I do think a real, and it'll be difficult, but a real top-notch, do you know what I mean? Experienced keeper who can handle that. It still won't be easy, but it would be easier if he's, that's why for me, it will be hopefully a Premiership third choice or something who's got a lot of experience, very confident, big unit, all that sort of thing, But you're right, it's a challenging position.
I mean, it's a challenging situation, right, Disco, because like the club clearly see Lucas as the long-term number 1 for many years, right? So if you're a goalkeeper, why do you want to come in and play a few games and then become second fiddle? Unless there's an actual chance you could be number 1 long term, why would you do that? And that is why I think Liam left, because Liam had no real chance of being a long-term number 1 here.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Dre, to get your final thoughts on Liam Roberts before we move on.
Yeah.
Obviously, Disco's saying maybe he wants to swap, pie and mash for chips and gravy up north instead now.
Up north, yeah.
But from your perspective, from the outside looking in, with the whole, Roberts, Mateta incident, how do you sort of perceive it through your eyes? And just be interested to get your thoughts on that, really.
I think they were harsh on him, to be fair. It's the abuse that he got is similar to the Casemiro United situation. I think everyone just throwing their toys at the pram. It's not. I don't think there was any malicious intent with what he did. He might have had a lapse in concentration, but I think I even made a video about it. And I said I tried to make light of the situation because I heard the stuff that was being said. So I was trying to make it a little bit lighter to say, I don't think there's anything to do with what people are saying. Do you know what I mean?
Anything malicious? Yeah,
it's nothing what they're saying it was. So.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit reckless, the incident of that going over old grounds. But these things happen. It's literally a split second thing that he thought he'll clear it by his foot. Mateta, got in there to try and challenge the ball, and rightly so. He's going to go, and it happened. But it's just amazing how that incident can just completely change someone's football career, which is incredible. Moving on, I will start with yourself, Disco, this time. Mihailo Ivanovic. So the 20-year-old Serbian international was linked with Lazio. He's now linked with Wolves after a standout season for us, scoring 12 goals, 7 of those goals in the last 9 games. So he's been real red hot for Millwall. Do you feel Millwall are in danger of losing it? I mean, Richard Cowley posted only the other day, here you go, Wolves have been monitoring Mill striker Mihailo Ivanovic, 20-year-old, scored 12 championship goals in the first season in England after arriving at the end of the summer transfer window from, where's he from, Jesper? What's the name of that? How you pronounce that?
Vojvodina.
There you go. That's what I meant to say, yeah. Disco, what's your thoughts on that?
I think we've had a chat about this previously, haven't we? And look, the fact that it's Rich Cowley mentioning it, even though he's gone into his new guise of being Mr. Open and Honest and throwing a load of bombs out there now.
He's throwing grenades left, right, and centre, isn't he, Richard Cowley? just so you know, Dre. So Richard Cowley, he worked for Southampton Press and done lots of journalist stuff, lots of things on Twitter, and he had to be very reserved on what he could say, what he couldn't say about Millwall, because he was almost like affiliated with Millwall Club, so that the media has to be very careful. Now he's no longer affiliated with Millwall. He can just say what he wants. And at the moment, we're hearing all sorts of things. Like he broke the Tanganga news, the Ivanovic news. Sorry, Disco, carry on, mate.
No, it's right to share that. So look, the fact that he's mentioned it tells me, look, there's something in it. But very key words there, isn't it? Of what was the words they used there? Of got an interest in, or keeping an eye on, keeping a watch on him, whatever it was. Look, is that monitoring? That's the word, monitoring.
Monitoring, yeah.
Look, I'm sure clubs, especially Premiership clubs, are monitoring all sorts of players, all sorts of positions and levels. I'm not saying there's nothing in it. I do not see Mihailo going in this window. And as we said last week, it would have to be an absolute out of the blocks, extreme offer to even consider to let him go. So I'm really quite confident, because that would be another element of our spine going, Chris, Jesus Christ, that would be a real body blow, wouldn't it? So I can't see it happening. I really not that he's not worth looking at. I understand him being monitored, and I think that's all it is for me, Joe.
Okay, coming to your next, Dre, we'll get your thoughts on Mihailo. He was captain for Serbia under-21s last week. And while we listen for Dre in the chat, guys, what would be a fair fee for Mihailo? Put it in the chat what you would be prepared to sell him for, and be quite. Dre, what's your thoughts on that story?
I think let's see what happens. I don't know if he'll really go. Yeah, as I said previously, he still needs to do a lot of developing. He had a good season, but he still needs to develop.
Still young, 20 years of age, isn't he? He's still young.
Yeah. I think it's a bit too early for him to go. I think he should just stay where he is, develop himself here at Millwall, and see what happens later on.
How would it work though, Drake? Because let's say, for example, he's in line with you, and he's saying, yes, I want another season, but the club is saying, hang on a minute, we've got a massive offer here. We want to sell you on. It's kind of out of his hands, really, isn't it? Surely.
I always do say in my videos, football's a business at the end of the day. So if the club wouldn't let him go and they can get a good bit of money for him, not really much you can do about it, is it really? But
no,
for his development as a player, it'd be better for him to stay.
Yeah, I agree. Chris, do you agree with what Dre said there? What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we just, as a club, probably need to put a line in the sand and say, right, if you want him, this is what you pay. And that's it. Whether it's 15, 20, I've seen 25 million in the chat, whatever it is, fine. 20 million, whatever. I think that if we're really honest, Mihailo has probably got the potential for everything. He's not bad in the air. His movement has mass. By the way, we also need to credit Alex Neil because he is hugely improved under Alex Neil. Right? Was it 7 in 9 he scored? Like, there's a real significant uptick there. So I think he's got a lot of potential, but I think potential is what it is at the minute. And listen, if he continues the form into next season, he'll get 15 to 20 goals. And then we can talk big fees. But I think for his own development, another season with us is great. I can't see him pushing for more than that. I could be wrong. I don't know any information, but I think that another season in the Championship would do him the world of the good, considering the level that he's come from. And then we'll talk. But it's really refreshing to have, as annoying as it is, it's really refreshing to have a lot of our players linked with big clubs and big moves, because for a number of years we haven't had assets, right? We haven't, and now we do, which I think is only a positive for the future of our club.
Well, I think Dre said one of his old videos, Dre, that Mill will become in the Amazon, aren't we, of the Football League.
I also saw Real Madrid as well.
Exactly, yeah. So cheers for that, Chris. Jesper, we'll get your thoughts on the situation. And is it right to sell him now? Should he go? The money's right, or do you think we should keep him? To Dre's point.
I think it would be absolutely mental if we sold him this summer. It would mean that we've sold Fleming, Esse, Ivanovic in less than a year. I get the point that silly money can be thrown on the table, but you would have to start a complete rebuild again and again and again. So we need to make sure that we maximize these players when they are actually in the club, at the club, that we also benefit from them on the pitch and not just, financially. And we have to remember, as Chris said, he had I would say like a sort of a lukewarm first part of the season. Second part of the season, he was brilliant. He started to getting to know the league. He started to score more. He was getting more confident from Alex Neil as well. So it's actually only the last 3, 4, 5 months.
Played in a 2, Jesper.
In a 2 as well. Yeah, exactly.
Crucial.
In a 2, a 4-4-2, a dying formation, which has been, reborn at Millwall. I think is fantastic that it can still work today. But that's another subject. But I just think in general, we need to keep him. We need to keep some of our best players to also move forward on the pitch. So we can't afford to let him go. I know, okay, as someone wrote in the chat, 25 mil plus a 25% sell-on clause. Yeah, okay, we'll take it. But anything less than that should be an absolute no from the board, because we also need our best players to perform on the pitch. So there needs to be a time where you think like, okay, now is the time to sell, because then the club might also have alternatives, in the background that they can maybe look to sign as well. I just think now is not the right time, neither for us, neither for him.
Yeah, spot on, guys. Cheers, cheers to that. We've got a bit of news. We want to go to Chris very quickly. I know someone in the chat was just asking there earlier, is there any news on Millwall goalkeeper coach? Chris, have you got anything you could announce for us on that?
Yeah, so I can announce that we are very, very, very close to appointing someone. I don't know who. Is that
it? I thought you were going to end it just there.
Come on, that would have been
Keep us hanging. Yeah.
Is it someone in this group chat?
I mean, yeah, it's not Denzel because he's just gone to Wigan, but
is it Dre? Is it Dre?
When he was younger, yeah.
Got his charge, mate.
Yeah.
No,
can
but
you name who it is at all?
No, I don't.
You can't.
Do you know, Chris? Not wanting to put you under pressure. Do you know who it is?
No, I honestly don't.
No, you just know they're close.
But I know that we're very, very close to appointing someone, which is good because I think we need that because third year running looking for a number one. Now no goalkeeper coach. So and I can exclusively reveal that it's not Tony Warner or David Ford. I mean, there you go. These are exclusive.
I was really hoping you were going to say it was Tony Warner, but
you put two and two together, and but you say he's gone to Wigan, Chris. Didn't know that, Tony Warner. Yeah,
Denzel.
Yeah,
he's come back up north, Denzel.
But wasn't he at Bolton before?
I thought it was Reading, wasn't it? Reading.
Reading. He's at Reading. Yeah.
Oh,
as goalkeeper coach, I'm pretty sure he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
With Alex Ray and what's his name? Paul Ince, wasn't he? Was in that group? Oh, but that's good for him. So. But look, good news. You're right, Chris. That is an important appointment. We really need that doing really soon. So that's good.
I'm just saying, sorry, but I've got to laugh at the chat. We've got Ben Foster, Bart, Lenny Pidgley, Joe's wife.
God. Anyone else want to throw in the mix there, guys? Right, let's move on. Dre, I want to come to you first this time, but do you know much about George Honeyman? Have you ever come across him much as a player? A robust player? No. So I'll come back to you on the next one then. So Chris, come to you first. George Honeyman, as we believe, still having contract talks at the moment. He started contract talks the same time as George Savile. Now, George Savile very, very quickly turned it down, moved on. However, talks are still engaging with George Honeyman at the moment. So still in negotiations. But could he end up leaving too? Or is no news good news? What's your thoughts on the situation there?
Yeah, it's a real... Thank you, Jeff, for sharing the score. Sorry, I just did the English score.
Things fell in my background. Sorry.
So look, I think George Honeyman. I mean, Joe, you and I have debated George Honeyman and his qualities, shall we say, many times. But
listen, I'm not going to get thrown under the bus here. Never ever said he's a bad player. I just never thought he was good enough to play in the 10. But I like him set in midfield. I like when he plays on the right sometimes. He can add value. But me and you disagree on where he should play, I think. That's probably where we've had a bit of a conflict in interest, haven't we?
Well, I mean, I just think that George Honeyman has value in being in the squad. I think that's the way I would articulate it. I think that he is so versatile. He's so available all the time, you know, even when he's supposedly injured, he's back in record time. And he is, again, part of what I believe is a dying art of a footballer, which is just someone who is a leader on the pitch, a leader off it, gives absolutely everything. You can't underestimate those sorts of qualities. So for me, I would keep him, but on the premise that he understands that he is a squad player. And I think that he is, I don't want to see him in a 10. Just want to make that really clear. But I think
you changed your tune now, have you?
No. Like, I think at the time we weren't playing 4-4-2. So I'll be honest, I think Honeyman offers more in the 10 than Kundal does. If we want to throw that out there.
Yeah. I can't argue that. Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to, if that's your benchmark, but I think on the, if we're playing a side that requires more defensive duties, you can put him on the wing. And then I think that maybe he is the kind of Sav replacement in the centre of part. I still want someone else, right, that we've talked about before. But I would keep him. I think, rumours are he's talking to Blackpool. Is that a coincidence that it puts pressure on us to get a deal done? I don't know. He's a born northerner, but as David
he's from the
Turner
northeast,
said,
isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's as north as you can get, right? But as David Turner says, he's a Swiss Army knife, and I think considering you've lost Murray Wallace, Sean Hutchinson, George Savile, and Duncan Watmore, who is an experienced player, I think you need to keep him. So as long as we can get a deal done that works commercially for us, we should keep him.
Nice one. Cheers, Chris. Coming to you next, Jesper. Hello, Big E. Hope you're well, mate. Graham Stack. Oh, my God. We're really pulling it out now, aren't we? Jesper, what's your thoughts on
George? Wasn't he, Stack? Good one for Drader, and it wasn't he Arsenal?
Yes,
Stack
he was. Yeah.
Was that us before Dre's time? Me and Dre are quite young, so we don't remember that, do we, Dre?
That's not the Graham I remember.
Before our time, innit, Dre? Before our time, it was.
Yeah. That's not the one I remember.
That's when they had a big heavy ball when you headed it, you lads.
Back in those days, laces on the footballs back in those days. Yeah. Sorry, your thoughts, Disco?
No, Jesper.
On George Honeyman. Was it? Oh, just
Jesper, wasn't it? Yeah.
I can go first, no problem. I think as Chris mentioned there, with all the senior players leaving, I think it's vital that we keep some of our senior players, and not just for the sake of it. I think we've spoken a lot about where we see George Honeyman playing this team, and I think there's been a lot of debate about him playing in the 10, playing on the right wing, playing as a central midfield. And as you mentioned, Joe, I also think now that he seems to thrive best in a central midfield role, as sort of a terrier who can sort of sweep and clean up and do all the dirty work. And I think he does that well. And he likes to wind up players as well, as we saw when we played Norwich at home. Him and Sav against Ashley Barnes. Right. So he can do that side he has that side to his game, which I really like. So I don't mind him staying. Again, I don't know what the club is willing to offer, what terms and what the deal will be, and if he's more keen to move up north again. So let's see how that pans out. I hope a deal can be done. If not, then I think again a 1-to-1 replacement is needed. We can't just rely on the youth again. I think we will need someone with experience to come in and definitely replace him if he leaves. So I'd keep him, but let's see what happens.
Lovely. Chris, are you good to hang a bit longer, or do you just shoot off? Are you all right?
You know the answer to that, Joe.
You're staying to the end of the show. Oh,
that is throwing me under the bus big time. I've got to go, yeah.
Find out who that coach is.
I could just tell. It gives me that look when his eyebrows start doing that. It's like, I've got to go.
Like The Rock.
He'll get beats from his missus.
Joe, I just noticed we have I think we have a Dutch fan in the chat now mentioning a goalkeeper from PSV Eindhoven. I thought,
Oh right, okay. Oh, nice one, Tom. Tom Van Rouge.
Yeah. Would you like to become a Dutch correspondent? Let us know.
Yeah. We could do some after signing Zien Flem. We could do a couple more Dutch players. So if you could let us know, that'd be great. Cheers. No, seriously, you need to go, Chris. You're right, or you've got to go now.
Yeah, I need to go. Yes, I need to
go. All right, okay. He's under the thumb, lads. What can I say? He's under the thumb.
I am. But thank you, and Dre, a massive thank you to you, mate, for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Good to meet you.
Enjoy the rest of the show, and thank you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Chris. Right. See you soon, mate.
Cheers.
Chris. Where are we? So he's under the thumb, isn't he? That's why, isn't it? Disco, is it you next? I can't remember.
Yeah. George Honeyman. I mean, I don't want to be controversial here. I would say I would have preferred to keep Sav out of the two if it was a choice. But now Sav has gone, I agree with all the comments that actually the type of player he is and the role that he can play. I would definitely keep him, and I don't mind him as a player, like you say, Joe. Not a 10, unless it's a very deliberate, tactics that we're playing. But I would buckle in, because I reckon, similar to Sav, we're probably only offering a year, maybe reduced terms. And if they're talking teams like Blackpool, we'll no doubt be guaranteeing him first team football. with a 2 or 3 year contract, I suspect he might go as well. You know, maybe with a heavy heart and all that, but in terms of interest of his career, and he's always been one in his past, hasn't he? If he's not fitting in at a club, he's happy to move on and get on with a new club. So I would keep him, but I think he'll go, and I think that will be another little blow for us, to be fair.
I agree. I agree with you, Disco. So that was George Honeyman. We're going to move forward now. Come to yourself, Dre. Zack Sturge. I know that name rings a bell to you at all, but again, he came out on social media. Someone asked, was there anything on Sturge? And Richard Cowley come out and says, got told the deal is in a good place. Sounds pretty likely to happen. For those, just give you a bit of a backstory to Zack Sturge. So he's a young player, 20-year-old left back. His current team's Chelsea. He came through the Brighton Academy. As you know, Dre, lots of good players come from Brighton Academy.
Brighton's quite good, like Reading.
Yeah, he went to Chelsea Academy, went on loan season before last to Peterborough just for 8 games. Came on loan to Millwall last season. He didn't feature much, played 1 or 2 games, and in the last 3 games, I believe it was, he played in every game, and he was outstanding. Yeah, he's fast, he's powerful, 6'2", technically, very, very sound. He kept a clean sheet in the game against Swansea. We won 1-0, and looks a very, very promising player. International career, played for the under-18s, going back a few years, 6 games for them. And someone saying, a lot of people I spoke about him when he was younger, about him being a very highly promising attacking fullback. Do you know much about Zack Sturge, Dre?
No, not really, no.
Not. But reading that, I mean, is that part of the module, would you say, Dre, that Mill are going after at the moment? Lots of teams like Brentford have been doing it, Norwich have done it, Brighton, where you kind of buy players, young players who have got talent, develop them, sell them on, a bit like SA we did with SA, a bit like we did with Fleming, possibly Ivanovic next. Could Sturge on paper be that type of player in your eyes?
He could be, but bit controversial. But I feel like the club that Millwall are, and that's probably going to go into a question you're going to talk about later. The club that you are, I think that type of tactic is more for a club that's just trying to stay in the Championship. But realistically, if you aim for promotion, the money you get from promotion, and even if you get relegated, the parachute funding, you're always going to keep bouncing back up. So I think it's the wrong tactic. But
I get that. That's a very, 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 very valid point there. Jesper, I'll get your thoughts on Zack Sturge. You, like I saw a little bit of him towards the end of the season. Was you impressed with him? Is he a player you want to see in a Millwall shirt as a permanent sign next season?
From what I saw towards the end of the season, yes. And I think it's believed that his contract is up at Chelsea as well, if I'm not mistaken. That we could get him on a free transfer as well. Correct, so I think this signing would tick all the right boxes in terms of him having signed for us in January. He didn't play much until Joe Bryan got injured, but from what I saw, I think there's definitely potential for him to become the next left back at our club for years. He fits the model in terms of being an asset, which we could potentially move on later if need be, or if a big bid comes in. And so I think this one is a no-brainer really, because we need a left back. Nino has now left the club. Scanlon's coming back. And then I think we're all guessing whether Adam Mayer is going to be in contention for that left back spot, since he played his majority of his game at Bromley there. So I think, for me, this should just be done and dusted, and get him in as soon as possible if he's keen to get back to the club. So definitely a yes for me. I
agree. Cheers, Jesper. Disco, ending off with yourself. Obviously, Joe Bryan, we like to think will be our first choice left back. I'm sure you might come across Joe Bryan, Dre, in the past. Ex-Fulham left back, played the Premiership. We got him on a free 2.5 years ago, I think it was roughly. Last season, he had a really good season. He got injured at the end. That's when Zack Sturge, young kid, came in and done really well for us. But Disco, can you see him being a good backup for Joe Bryan and possibly take over that left back slot in the coming seasons, perhaps?
Oh, listen, 100%. That was a real bit of good news today. And again, from the main man, Rich Cowley. So to be saying that tells you we're in a really good place and effectively just waiting to the ink to dry now, hopefully. Looks the real deal, as Jesper says, ticks all the right boxes for us right now. We know he can fit in. He seemed to fit in well with the young squad, the younger players in the squad, so that looked good. I don't want to put a dampener on it, and it might sound a little bit weird, but I actually, out of the two, I really like the look of that Callum Scanlon from Liverpool.
The Liverpool left back.
The real deal to me. And if you gave me a choice of the two, I'd probably say I'd go with him. However, the balance would be his injury track record, which sadly affected him with us. And whether the reality of us being able to actually get him permanently where Sturge we can. So I don't want to be hard on Zack. Look, ticking all the right boxes, looks a good player, big lad, isn't he, as well? You know, athletic, technically good. So probably I'm being a bit greedy, but I don't know what it was. Just Scanlon. We didn't see a lot of him, but he looked really classy to me. So I think we missed out there, just in terms of seeing him last season, if nothing else. But good signing, Joe. Really good signing for us.
Well, fingers crossed. To your point, I like Scanlon as well. Anyone that plays for Liverpool and wants to break into the first team, and left back, especially where they play with very much high attacking fullbacks. But unfortunately, he was injury prone. I think he came to us with an injury. He's had back problems. He had hamstring problems. Whether that's just a growing thing, I think he's like 19 years of age. I don't know at that age. But yeah, he's good. But for me, Sturge, for what I've seen of him, he slots in really well. You know, very athletic. He's quick. Reads game very well. Very cool on the ball. Fits in really well with the group of lads we've got there in the team as well. I remember speaking to Race Bangura Williams, and he mentioned about him when he first saw him in training, and his first words were, "He's a unit." You know, and as a defender, you want that kind of player that's got that kind of presence about him, isn't you? So let's see how that goes.
Don't want to be too hard on him, Joe, but I was a bit disappointed with his effort to try and stop Ashley Barnes on that last game of the season. Barnes fouled.
Was he fouled though?
It was fouled. Yes, he was fouled, but he did look a little bit half-hearted going in. He should have just took him out, you know.
But again, Disco, he's played what? 8 games with Peterborough, 5 games with us. He's inexperienced. He'll probably learn from that. And next time he's in that position, he'll make sure he'll clear the ball, or he'll, you know, check his shoulder, whatever. But yeah, good point. And it's all part of his development. We're ending the show, guys. We come to the last point that I want to discuss. And Dre, we're going to start with yourself this one. Alex Neil contract extension. So BBC Radio London announced in an interview that Alex Neil was staying on. I couldn't quite work out whether it's a 2-year or a 3-year deal, guys. Did you catch whether that was a 2-year or 3-year contract that he signed? I don't know whether you heard that at all, did you? But what I did do is I actually filmed that bit and I slowed it down because his accent, Dre, is so strong, his Scottish accent. I couldn't quite understand if it was a 2 or a 3. So I slowed it down. And guys, listeners, if you're listening and you guys listen to this and tell me, is it a 2 or a 3? Ready?
Consider me to obviously give me a new contract to try and take this project further. Certainly for the next few seasons is really important to me.
I thought 2.
Was that next 2 seasons or 3
2.
seasons?
That was.
Did you say few seasons?
next few seasons. So Dre's saying 2. Dre's saying 2. Jasper, you're saying few.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards Disco, 2, I would say.
What about you, Disco?
I thought he said 4.
in the chat,
2. I thought he said
chat,
2.
Is it, in the chat, is it 2 or 3? Because
to be fair, Joe, the stream is not particularly good as well. It doesn't help to his Scottish accent.
Well,
I would say
I actually slowed it down. Because he spoke so quick. I actually slowed it down, edited it just so I could understand what he says.
Consider me to obviously give me a new contract to try and take this project further. Certainly for the next few seasons is really important to me.
It's plain as day to me.
Maybe it's my ears. Maybe it's my years.
He sounded like he was commentating on your goal, Joe. It's the same sort of pace as your goal.
Was it that slow? Was it? I'll show Trey. They're winding up. So I played a charity game at Millwall, okay, and we won this game, and I scored our goal, and it was a really, I thought it was quite a good goal, and I don't like talking about it much, but I've got a video clip of it, so I might show it to you in a minute at the end before we end the live show. But Dre, what's your thoughts on Alex Neil officially staying on as Mill manager? Obviously, we need this stability. He came in January this year, so he done the last half of the season. A little bit inconsistent at the beginning, but he kind of found his feet towards the end. As you say, he went through a real good form towards the end, and we finished 8th in the league. What do you make of that that move?
Again, stability. It's all about stability. I think you got to give him at least another season just to see what he does. Whether or not he's going to bring any players, I still think you need a new striker. As much as we all sing Ivanovic's praises, I still think you need an experienced striker that's going to put in at least 15 goals in the league alone.
I agree.
That's just my opinion, but
Yeah, good. But Alex Neil, from your experience, your knowledge of him, is he an experienced Championship manager in your eyes? Do you rate him? Do you not like him? What's your thoughts on him?
I just got to be fair with you. I'm not too familiar with his work other than what I've seen with Millwall. To be fair with you, from what I've seen with Millwall, he's not too bad. I'm not gonna give him a stick. I think he's all right. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. Obviously, he's had success with Sunderland, getting them promoted a couple of seasons ago. He done very well with Norwich, getting them into the Premier League a few years ago. Didn't have the great spell at Stoke, Dre, but then who has done well at Stoke? Every manager has joined them, has ended up leaving in 6 months anyway. Stoke. But exactly, on a Tuesday night, exactly. But no, he seems to have found a home, and you hear his interviews, the way he talks about being at Mill, he talks about the fan base, he talks about the culture, the club, and he loves it. He seems very happy, Jesper. And I just feel that maybe he's this could be what we need, as Dre says, a little bit of stability for the next 2 years. What'd you make of that?
No, I completely agree. I just didn't know what the new part in the contract was, because I believe that we did sign him on a long-term contract in January, didn't we? So I am a bit unaware what has changed in the new sort of signing of the contract. So I'm a bit unaware of that to be fair. But it's good that he's signed for the longer future. I think he's done a really, really good job in the first part that he's been here, and to be fair to him, he hasn't had much time with the players on the training pitch as well, so he's had to sort of implement his ideas as we went game by game all the time. And I think by doing so, and then still you could see sort of a change in how we played and how we set up, I think has been was quite remarkable. And with the thin squad we had as well, in terms of injuries as well, and absent players, I think he did really well. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do in pre-season. I'm excited to see what new players we will be bringing in to sort of strengthen the squad that he can work with. So it's all good news in general. Just I think a really exciting time, and I can understand why people might think it's also a bit scary with all these changes happening. These senior players has been here a long time, who's going to replace them, how we're going to look as a squad coming into the next season, because we know, playing for Millwall, it's not like playing for any other club. So, it's a bit nerve-wracking, but at the same time, it's exciting as well. We're heading in a positive direction, and there's interest in some of our good players, which there hasn't been for a long time. So, in general, I'm just very positive-minded about, him staying and also for the club going into the next season and the season after that.
Nice one. Cheers, Jesper. And then coming to yourself, Disco, we're getting fews in there, we're getting threes in there, not many twos in there in the chat, guys. So either your hearing's very good and their hearing shit, but not many twos. But Disco, just to end off with Alex Neil, what do you make of the contract that he signed, the extension?
Well, look, I think we've uncovered a new game show first, though. Guess Alex Neil's word. That's brilliant.
They will show him on every week. We could have a choice of what did he say.
What did
he was right.
What did he actually say? Or fill in the gaps.
What did the gaffer say?
I think it was Chris said he's a lip reader, and he said 2. So I'm with Chris on that. Listen,
right?
look, great bit of bit weird if it is 2 seasons, because what did he sign in the first place? You know, I would have thought he'd have signed a 2.5 years deal anyway. So what was the extension? You know,
that's what makes me wonder. Could it be a 1 year? Because supposedly that he signed a contract which was 6 months. So say it's an 18-month contract. He's done 6 months this season.
Yeah.
Next season, 12 months. And what was he a free agent after that? So does that mean that he signed an extension of 1 year? So it's now a 2 year. Seems a bit odd to me. You think it'd be a 3 year, wouldn't you?
I would have thought it was 2.5 to start with. He wouldn't sign an 18 month. Wouldn't have thought, would you? But look, who knows? Only Alex knows what he actually said. Look, great signing. I've been nothing but impressed with him since he's joined. I'm not being big after the event. I was very keen that he was the right man from the start, and he has exceeded my expectations with a lid on it. You know, we've got a lot to do yet. It could easily go a bit pear-shaped before it improves, you know, and as Chris said earlier, he's got a big job on his hands with a lot of changes in the summer. So pulling all that together and getting us off to a good start, which I think is crucial for us for a change. But look, really good, very, very happy with him as head coach, manager, whatever you want to call him, for 2, 3, or 4 or 5 seasons.
Excellent. So, guys, we always say, Dre, just so you know, we try to keep it to an hour, this show, but it always goes past an hour. So we call it the 90-minute show. At the moment, we're at the 81st minute. So we're getting close to the last 10 minutes of the show. We're in extra time soon, exactly. So what I've done is I saw a few questions coming through, and I've just starred them to keep them. So hopefully we can answer them now. So we'll go through them. So Big Dre, question there for you was, I'm aware of Big Dre gives us serious credit for our youth development. Okay. So again, I guess while we're at subject, Dre, just want to get your thoughts before we end the show. What's your thoughts on our youth development, Millwall? Has it always been good in your eyes, or do you feel it's just got better more recently? What's your thoughts?
I think youth development has definitely always been good. It's just more publicized, seeing a lot more of the games on the TV. So you see a lot more about players like Reece Spangler, Williams. You're seeing, you're seeing a lot more of it. So it's not that you've got better. It's just that it's now being publicized a bit more.
I get that.
That's really all that's changed.
Nice one. Another question. I think this is for Dre. Again, Dre's getting all the questions here. Big Dre, can you use your platform to help get Chat with Chaps over the 2K sub mark? So basically, I think we're at 1,989 subscribers on YouTube, and we want to get to 2,000 subscribers. And again, by doing that, it just helps a little bit more of the algorithms and brings more money to our charity. 100%. So, to Alex's question, can you help us?
I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go for sure.
There you go, Alex. There you go. Another question. This one from Alex. Question for the panel. Would you rate Jaffet as better than Dan Ballard? So Dan Ballard got promoted with Sunderland this season, the playoffs. We had him on loan before he chose to sign for Sunderland permanently. I don't know whether you know much about Dan Ballard, Dre. Do you know much of him?
Ex-Arsenal.
He's ex-Arsenal, yeah. Not much.
Most of these, I don't rate most of the players that we have.
That's fine. Coming to yourselves, guys. Either Jesper or Disco. Very quick answer, I suppose. Dan Ballard or Jaffet? Who'd you go for?
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, either.
Look, two very good players without a shadow of a doubt, and sort of different attributes in a way. I might be controversial here and a little bit biased. I'm going to go Jaff.
Yeah, okay. And Jesper, yourself?
Well, if that's being controversial, I have to join you, Steve. I think Dan Ballard reminds me a bit more of an old school centre back. He was a very strong player. You know, physically, he was very good in the air. But I could see sort of limitations to his passing game as well. I think he would struggle with that in the Premier League, where I think Jaff is a more composed defender. At times a bit laid back, maybe. But, you know, his way of playing. But I just, I'd have Jaff over Dan Ballard.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah. I mean, for me, Jaffet would be my preference. He's a Rolls Royce, isn't he? When he's on it, he's just so cool. He reads the game so well. He's quick. He's agile. He's not particularly tall, but he gets up really high. He wins his headers. So for me, he's a complete player. A couple more questions left. Yeah, go on, Drake.
If I might add to that, so I wouldn't pick Jeff. I'd rather Dan Ballard, and I'll tell you why. One, Jeff was from Spurs. Can't have him. Can't be having these Spurs players.
Number one, that is.
Yeah. Ballard shares the same birthday as me, so I'll take him.
There you go. There you go. And he's ex Arsenal as well. So there you go. Drake gets gives Ballard the vote. It gives a little.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's a 50-50 from people. I wouldn't be surprised. Might slightly be more, Jeff. That's why I said controversial. I think a lot of people really rated Ballard very highly. Yeah.
Interesting. Another question here. This one's from Craig Jones. Question for the panel. Who would you say is the new spine of the team? Cooper, Kramer, Denor, Mitchell, Ivanovic, perhaps Leonard and Brian are the ones to also keep up the standards?
Cooper's done well.
Cooper done very well. You're right. And we're led to believe he'll be there next season as well. So he stays there. Casper Denor stays there. He had a really good season. Casper just so you know, Drake, Casper Denor is a Belgian player. He's been with us for a couple of seasons now. Really good central midfielder. He came very, very close to winning Player of the Year, but Japhet Tanganga just pipped him. So he's definitely up there and someone to look out for next season, perhaps.
Yeah, I forgot that he won that last. Yeah, I forgot he got Player of the Year. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. Jesper, any thoughts on the spine? Any players you feel next season will be very important to us?
Of the current ones that we have, as I said in the beginning, I think Billy Mitchell could be in for a big season. I think he will get a lot of games under Alex Neil, so I can see him in there with Casper playing a lot of games. The same with Cooper. I think he will play a lot of games as well. Question is, will Tanganga stay or will he leave? But if we look at the current squad, them two are definitely also part of the spine. And I would even throw Ivanovic in now because of how well he performed. You know, he's sort of become a talisman. And we also have to look at the goals that Ivanovic scores. He doesn't score he doesn't score the goals of 3-0 or 4-0. He scores important goals as well. So he's already becoming an important player despite the young age that he is at. And of course, Lucas, we need to put in there as well because, you know, the way he has developed, even though he's injured. So I think the players Craig's have mentioned there, definitely. Kramer, can be and will also be an important player. I'm not so sure about Lenny, and there's no disrespect to him, but I don't see him. I see him as a part player next season. I don't see him as a first choice right back. I think we'll bring someone in. I hope we will bring someone in. So
I agree.
But I'll definitely throw most of them in the mix.
Cheers, Jesper. Final question from the chat. This is for Dre again. Dre, I don't know if you know much about Millwall's owners, the American owners. James Berylson is the son of John Berylson, who tragically passed away a year or so ago in a horrible car crash. His son has taken over the club, and I guess it's his mission to try and get Millwall to the Premier League for his father. So it's quite sad, really. But he's done really well. He's put his hands in his pocket. He's reinvested. He's bringing players in. He's trying to get Millwall to where we are. We are a fairly sustainable club. We're still leaking money that every year. The owners are putting money in, try and pay off all our debts every year. So they've been really, really good owners. Just be interested to see if you heard anything from the outside looking in about the club, how it's run, or the owners. Have you heard much about them?
No, to be fair. I watched some stuff about championships clubs and how they were developing their players, but I haven't actually specifically watched something about your owner itself. So I'm going to go away and have a look at that, to be fair with you.
Look into it, That'd be interesting to get your thoughts when I'll speak to you another time, of course, about that. But good owners. Guys, we've reaching the 90-minute mark. I can hear the fans whistling now for full time. So I just want to end it off very, very quickly. So Jesper will come to yourself first, then Disco, and I'm going to end it off with Dre for a final word. So Jesper, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
No, thanks for the listeners again for tuning in. I think it's fantastic, even though we have stuff to talk about. But I mean, the season is 2 months away. I'm counting down every day. I'm refreshing, the news pages every day to see have we signed anyone. So it's just can only go too slow for me for the new season to start. I am really excited to see where we're going to be next season. A little bit scared as well. A lot of changes are happening. It's It's a new chairman. It's a new strategy. It's a new sort of team club that we are trying to assemble. So, it's I'm optimistic and a little bit afraid as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Disco, and just thanks for coming on tonight. Disco, over to you next. Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, look, first and foremost, I'm feeling really cool tonight and all day, actually, at work. We've been talking about the Gen Z kids these days. So every product we're bringing out now, whether it's Dubai chocolate or Takis tortillas, it's all for Gen Z, the Gen Z market. So I'm sharing a platform today with Dre as well. I'm feeling like I am really returning to my youth here. Somebody said earlier, am I Benjamin Button? It feels like I'm turning. Thank you, Dre. You've made my night. I'm feeling very cool.
Appreciate it.
But
Sorry, go on, Disco. Sorry, mate.
No, great to see everybody. Look, lot going on. Like you say, Jesper, you think we ain't got a lot to talk about, but there is a lot to talk about because it's Millwall. We're a couple of weeks away now from the fixtures coming out. So looking forward to that. But we could do with Sturge coming in and maybe the goalkeeper coach that Chris teased us with earlier. Look, a few more incomings would be very, very welcome and could be an exciting few weeks ahead.
Nice one. Cheers, Disco. A lot of love in the chat for Dre. Obviously, Mark Murphy said, thanks to Dre for his input. Great work. Thanks for the stream tonight, lads. Thank you so much. Again, lots of stuff coming through. Thank you guys for being with us. Andrew Roberts says, thanks. Great show, lads. Thanks to Dre from Andrew Roberts. Have a great show. Fantastic. Dre, just want to end it with you, mate. Thank you so much for giving up your time so generously this evening. Oh, he's gone. He's had enough. Oh, he's back. I thought you left there,
Hello?
Dre.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can see you.
I can't hear.
It's all good. It's all good.
Hold on.
It's all good.
I can't hear anyone.
The floodlights gone out.
We can hear you.
Oh, no, I can. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're going to end it now. Don't worry, guys. In the chat, if you want to follow Dre, how can they follow you? Our listeners, how can they contact you? You're on YouTube, TikTok. What's your
Yep.
your type?
I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the same handle. So it's at BI for Indigo, 9, and then Dre, DRE.
There you have it. So at BI for Indigo, 9, and then Dre, DRE. Dre, thank you so much for being with us, mate. We will get you down a den one day. I promise you. Next season, if I get a spare ticket, I'm going to let you know, and hopefully you'll be my guest to come down and meet the guys as well, and give you a true Millwall experience. So we'll look forward to that one day. Thank you very much. Anything you want to say before you leave, Dre? Anything you want to say to the chat, to the fans and stuff?
Thank you for everyone for having me. My reception from the Millwall fans has been great. It's been amazing. It's not what people make it out to be. People make you out to be something completely different, but very warm, welcoming. Yeah, I just want to say thank you all for welcoming me in.
Lovely. Bless you, Jay. Thank you very much, Dre. I really appreciate it.
Guys,
there you go. Got to get that in the end. Oh, before you do go, actually, I've been told I've got to show you something. So bear with 1 second, Dre, because if I don't do this, like, the fans are going to be really upset with me. So just bear with 1 second. I'm going to just show you something here very, very quickly. Funny.
That's all right.
I was like Odegaard there, weren't I? You think Arteta will sign me up? You think Arteta will sign me up?
I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that one. Joking aside, look, thank you so much, Dre, for being us. Obviously, love to get you back on again. Maybe throughout the season. Once we sort of get way through the season, get your thoughts on how you think we're doing. And obviously, appreciate appreciate your time, and thank you so much for the guys in the chat. There's quite a lot of you being with us tonight. Really do appreciate it. Guys, if you're watching this back and you're not on the live and you're watching this back, please make sure you like, you subscribe. Get your comments in the chat as well. I want to get your reactions on George Savile, Ivanovic, Tanganga. Get it in the chat. Get your comments in because it all helps with the algorithms. And hopefully we'll get over the 2,000k mark for subscribers. So, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll speak to you soon. All the best.
Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.